Good afternoon, and thank you for attending this afternoon. For the record, my name is Danny Smyth, S-M-Y-T-H. I'm the Deputy Chief of Investigations. I'm here to provide you with an update on the Cooper Nemeth investigation. As you know, Cooper has been missing since last weekend when he was last seen leaving a party with a male in the Valley Gardens area of the city. Now, witnesses reported that Cooper and the male entered a vehicle and drove off from the party. Cooper did not return home, and his family reported him missing the following day. It is with sadness that I'm here to report that a body was discovered on a property on Bain Crescent, not far from the party where Cooper was last seen. Investigators believe this is Cooper's body, although this still needs to be confirmed by medical examiners later in the week. On behalf of the police service, our thoughts and prayers go out to the Nemeth family. Based on the preliminary examinations of the injuries on Cooper's body, investigators believe he was murdered. Investigators also believe that Cooper's body was concealed in a sheltered area of the property on Bain Crescent. The property owner on Bain is not involved in the murder. Police were contacted by the property owner about suspicious activity after hearing unusual noise at the rear of the property. Police units attended and discovered Cooper's body concealed in a bin that did not belong to the property owner. Investigators have made significant progress in this investigation, and earlier this morning, a 22-year-old male identified as Nicholas Bell-Wright, that's Bell with a hyphen Wright, of Trigger Bay in Winnipeg, was arrested and charged with second-degree homicide in the death of Cooper. You will recall that police investigators executed a search warrant on Trigger Bay earlier this week, and the search warrant was executed at the residence of Mr. Bell-Wright and is connected to the homicide investigation. Forensic evidence was discovered at the residence, as well as a vehicle that is believed to be connected to the homicide. The disappearance and murder of this young man has resonated throughout the city, far beyond the neighborhood where Cooper lived. I want to acknowledge the efforts of the Missing Persons Unit, the Forensics Unit, the Homicide Unit, and countless uniformed members who have worked tirelessly this week to discover what happened to Cooper. I especially want to acknowledge and thank our community for their support throughout this ordeal. Throughout the week, hundreds of people came together and mobilized throughout the city in an effort to help. It was a remarkable effort and certainly made me glad to be part of the community. This is not the outcome that anyone wanted, and our hearts go out to the Nemeth family while they deal with the loss of their son. I can only imagine the pain that they are going through, but I also believe that the remarkable and continued support of the community will help them get through this tragedy. And that concludes my comments on the update.
Thank you so very much, and very well put. Richard Cloutier from 680 CJOB. Can you help us understand why second-degree murder charges?
You know, I don't have that level of detail in the investigation, and I should be clear, I think it was important that we provide this briefing to the public today, but this investigation is still ongoing, and it's far from over.
What was the big break in this case?
I think when the homicide unit became involved, they started to re-interview many of the witnesses that had first provided information, and they just found some inconsistencies in the information and really started to dig, and it led them to the address on Trigger Bay.
Some of these folks are known to police. Can you comment a bit about that and who you're dealing with here that ultimately helped you out break this case?
Well, Mr. Bell-Wright doesn't really have an extensive record with the justice system. To my knowledge, he only has one conviction for assault that occurred a couple of years ago. So not an extensive background in terms of crime, but certainly we were led towards him.
Was there a drug deal that had gone bad?
You know, I don't know exactly what happened, but I think it's fair to say this was drug-related.
Is there any more you can tell us? Like, was he going to get drugs? Was Cooper involved with the drug aspect?
You know, again, I want to be sensitive to the investigation, and that kind of detail will come out in due course. You know, it's important that the investigators, you know, get to continue. They were inundated with information, and they'll be diligent going through all of it. But I really can't comment more than in a general way regarding the drug activity.
From process now, what has to occur? Can you give us a sense of what has to unfold in the hours and days ahead?
Well, certainly, you know, there's a number of things that are occurring. As I mentioned, there was forensic evidence that was gathered from Trigger Bay. That has been sent out to the lab, so, you know, we'll wait for some of the lab results to come back from that. Certainly, Mr. Bell-Wright is in custody right now. They're still dealing with him. We'll see what information they may be able to gather from that interview. And there are still quite a number of witnesses that will need to be interviewed in relation to what occurred up until the discovery of the body last night.
What more can you tell us about the injuries that he sustained?
I really, you know, I'm sorry, I don't know your name. You're getting right into very specifics, and I'll be very clear. I won't get into specifics of the investigation. Again, I need to emphasize, this is really ongoing. We're only partway through the investigation, but I think it's fair that the community be provided some update here. So I can't get into specific injuries. As I mentioned, the autopsy won't occur until early in the week, and we won't really know until then what the specifics of the injuries are.
Where's Bell-Wright? The body was found.
I'm sorry?
First, where do you believe the murder happened? Was it in the city or outside?
You know, we're not certain at this point. You know, we know that he left the party in a vehicle, and we know his body was discovered on this property on Bain Crescent. I don't believe the murder was on Bain Crescent, so we think the body was moved there.
Was Bell-Wright questioned earlier in the investigation?
Yes, he was.
Was he in custody on Friday?
Was he in custody on Friday? No, I believe he was brought in for interview, and he was released, I think it was on Friday. He's been brought into custody again this morning and charged.
And then based on the commotion that the homeowner says he heard late last night, it's the thinking that that's when the body was put in that.
Well, they're not 100% sure what occurred there. Certainly the bin did not belong to the property owner, and Cooper's body was in the bin. So it would appear that someone was trying to move the body.
Where was Bell-Wright arrested?
Mr. Bell-Wright was arrested in the Maples area of the city. He was arrested by uniformed members. They had been alerted to a suspicious call out in the Maples. When they attended, they discovered a stolen vehicle that had been reported in the North Kildonan area, that had been reported stolen in the North Kildonan area yesterday. When they examined the vehicle, they actually found Mr. Bell-Wright within the vehicle. So he was arrested and taken into custody without incident in the stolen vehicle.
Do you have any details on Derek and Brittany and what role they played as witnesses in this? Did they kind of help come forward? Did you ever find them?
All I can really tell you is that, you know, we had a couple of public appeals earlier on in the week, and it was a tremendous amount of information that came in. Certainly the name Brittany and Derek were mentioned as part of the tips that came in. I can tell you that investigators are still working diligently through that. But, at this point in time, investigators believe that Mr. Bell-Wright acted alone. Unless new information is discovered, that's what we have at the moment.
And just to clarify, when was he arrested? Was this morning?
This morning, I'm not sure exactly what time. It was in the early morning hours, I think around 4 in the morning.
And this stolen car, was it the same car that drove off in the park?
No. The car was stolen yesterday in the North Kildonan area.
So just to clarify, was he arrested after the body was found or before the body was found?
He was arrested after the body was found.
Couple more questions?
Was there any gang involvement?
None that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.